Hi everyone! I thought I'd do a video showing you all the stuff I have for my piggies and tell you a bit more about those items that I find particularly useful or that the pigs love. So lots of people request this kind of video and I always enjoy watching what stuff other people have for their pets, so I thought I'd get everything out and share with you all my stuff. And the piggies are also having a bit of floor time at the moment. Yes, there is a lot of stuff. So they are going to be wandering up and down whilst I do this video and hopefully not causing too much mischief, which is probably likely going to happen, isn't it, Sprite? Because you can be quite mischievous sometimes when you come out for floor time, can't you? Yes. So first of all, I'm going to start with my cage lining materials, and here first I have this big bunch of old towels, and these go underneath my fleece. I generally use 1 to 2 layers of towels and they always work fine for me as an absorbent layer. So well, in fact, that I haven't really got round to making my own cage liners, proper cage liners. I just carry on using fleece with the towels on underneath. And moving on to the fleeces, these are the fleeces that go on top of the towels, and some of them are years old but they still work fine, though I have recently bought 2 new ones from B&M. This green one here and the pink one which is inside their cage. I don't know what's going on over there, but I think I think this could be quite an awkward video to film, as the guinea pigs seem to be trying to eat their own houses. Sprite. And everything else by the looks of things. But I'm just going to leave them to it and hopefully they won't cause too much trouble. Will you? Don't go nibbling anything. Biting the bags, please. I'll be able to hear them if they do. Look at Sprite. What are you doing, Piggy? Must not get distracted. So I'm going to carry on talking about the fleeces. So some of them are really quite old, but they still work just fine. B&M is a great place to get fleeces from if you're in the UK. This big one at the bottom was from B&M, and those 2 new ones I got were 2 for £4, so that's great value. And also Primark is a good place to get fleeces from if you're in the UK. And as you can see over here, I also have Vet Bed, which I don't use so much now, probably because it is quite bulky to wash. But that said, I do really like it, and I definitely agree with other people when they say it's more effective at wicking moisture away down to an absorbent layer beneath. And I got these 2 colours of it from eBay. They're not that large. They're probably a 3x3 grid square, so they're not that large. And then next to the vet bed I have newspaper. So if you watch my videos you'll know that my piggies have a separate compartment for their hay, and this part is where they do most of their business, so I find it easy to line the hay room with plain old newspaper and change it out every day. And along with the newspaper I have my cleaning supplies, and these basically consist of my trusty dustpan and brush for sweeping up hay and poops, my cleaning spray, and loo roll to wipe down the cage with after I've sprayed it. Now I don't have a spray which I buy all the time, though I do really like the smell of those Keep It Clean ones. They are quite expensive though. I mean, even this one, which was one of the cheapest when I bought it, is still almost £3, so the sprays can get expensive. This one, My Little Friend, does smell really strongly, which I don't really like, so the Keep It Clean ones are probably my favourite ones to use. And then continuing round, over here on the other side of the playpen so the guinea pigs can't get to them, are all the cosy items which I regularly use in the cage. And to say that I make and sell guinea pig cosy items, my own piggies items are looking a bit worse for wear. These beds are actually some of the very first ones I made, and although the pigs still enjoy them, I will be replacing them with some new ones which are much thicker and hold their shape better. At the back here they have their tunnel, which they absolutely love. It's nice and big so Annie with all her hair can get through it, and it also doesn't crumple up, so they can go through it whenever they want. It always holds up. Then these circular things at the bottom are my lap pads, which I'll probably talk more about in a products video for Squeak Dreams if anyone is interested. Their newest item is this large Hidey hut. which was a tester for the large size that I am now making for people, so obviously it worked. Annie can easily fit in here with room to spare, so the size is great, and what's also great is that I haven't had to wash it yet. The waterproof pad that I make for them has done a great job at stopping any kind of mess from getting through to the bottom. Although the bottom of the entrance is getting a tad dirty, I might not actually bother washing it and just wipe that down with a wet cloth or something to give it a clean, because sometimes it's not always necessary to wash your cosy items so much. If they come with pads, it's great to use the pads, and that'll prolong the life of the Hidey hut or whatever it is that you've got. Moving on from their cosy items, I'm just going to talk briefly about their hay. From my old videos you might know that I used to buy hay from a farm, well, from the pet shop, which was from the farm. Farmer packaged it up and sold it very cheap, but unfortunately he stopped doing that now. Although I have found this type of hay which is pure pastures, and this bag, which I think is 3 kilograms, it is very compressed, so it does last me a good few weeks. This only costs £5, which I don't think is that bad a price. So if you're from the UK and you ever see this pure pastures, then I definitely recommend it. I also like to buy them another type of hay as a treat and to add some variety. So at the moment they've got ready grass, which I have done a review on this in the past, so you can go and watch that if you want. Some people get worried about the calcium content, but if you don't get it that much, it's fine, and my piggies really enjoy it, so they've got a bag of this for now. Sometimes I use a Timothy hay, which they also really enjoy, which can be quite expensive, but the ready grass is only £3 for a kilogram, so that's quite good value in comparison. And beside them we have some more hay related items. So these litter trays I use mostly for floor time nowadays. They've got one over there which I hope they are using. So yeah, I use them mainly for floor time, sometimes in the cage if I'm having a bit of a change around, and maybe for the upper level I'll put one of the litter trays in there with hay in it. And then we've got hay racks to make sure that they've always got some fresh hay available. This one can be used to put hay in, or you can also put veggies in. This type of thing, sorry, I'm just laughing at Annie headbutting the not nibbler or whatever it's called. So this type of one you can put veggies or hay in, and I think you can usually pick one up from any kind of pet store chain like Pets at Home or anything for not too much. And then this one was about £7 from Pet Planet, I think. It was an online haul I did a few years ago, and this is a really good one because it's a different kind of way of storing the hay that they can also nibble on. But if anyone has young piggies, I probably wouldn't recommend this because those are quite large spaces, and we don't want any little piggies to get their head stuck in that. And next to the hay stuff we also have some corner litter trays. And these are useful if you haven't got that much space but you'd still like to have somewhere with some hay in that your piggies might use to go to the toilet. This was a Pets at Home one, which actually turned out to be a bit of an annoying thing to attach onto the cage. The hooks weren't very good and it kind of kept falling off. This one I'm not sure where I got it from, but I think it's a kind of standard one, and it's got attachments like that on the back which work better, although I still prefer the kind of square, well, rectangle litter trays for ease of use. You don't have to worry about them falling off and wandering around the cage unless they're pushed around by piggies. And then next to those, well, hiding under here, I've got my hiding under here I've got my food bowls. So this one is a really little one which they have knocked over in the past and it hasn't been much use. But I have found a strange use for it, and that is when the water bottles are leaking. Sometimes, like, it depends on the temperature maybe, sometimes the water bottles do leak quite a lot, and it's useful to put this under one of them if they're doing that. And I've just got your classic ceramic, it says rabbit on it, food bowl there, which are great so that they can't knock those over. And the food which goes in there is Burgess XL Tasty Nuggets for guinea pigs. If you're from the UK, you probably use it yourself. It comes highly recommended. It's not the cheapest. A bag like this is usually about £5, but it is definitely a good quality pellet that is tailored for guinea pigs, and it also prevents selective feeding because all of the pellets are the same. And along with the pellets, we also have some other foods / treat items for them. You'll notice that compared to some other people on YouTube, I don't have that many treats, and that's because I simply don't find it that necessary to buy them loads of different things, because veggies are the main treat for them. If I do buy stuff, it tends to I only use a little bit of it, and I don't want treats going off and that kind of thing, so they don't really have that many treats, as it were. They do have these hay cubes, which are useful to put in if I'm not going to be around maybe for the rest of the day to top up their hay, and I want to make sure they've got some in there all day. In the same category as kind of these XL food cubes. Then this is their main type of treat. They've got plantain, rabbits and small animals, and it's just dried plantain, which they really enjoy. Usually any kind of dried herbs or leaves are always going to be a hit with guinea pigs. They're not too picky. As long as it's leafy, they'll like it. So this one was a sunshine munch, I think, from Woodlands, although I've had it a while now. I've picked out all the bits that the guinea pigs enjoyed most, and I'm probably due for throwing that away, unfortunately. Here we have Sprite's favourite. This is the Burgess XL Apple Snacks. Sprite absolutely loves these, don't you, darling? Maybe I'll give you some later. But the other piggies aren't too keen on them, to be honest. So that might be something that might be a bit risky if you buy it. Your guinea pigs might not like it. But I do recommend those. Burgess make a lot of like forages and treat type things, which are good for feeding alongside with the pellets, just to add a bit more variety. What are you doing, piggy? Are you trying to get into the treats? Then next to the treats we have other bits and bobs which I use for the cage, and these are mostly advertised as things that they can nibble on to wear down their teeth with, but my guinea pigs generally don't pay any attention to these type of things. So they've got one of these seagrass balls, which they have played with it, although by now I think they kind of just ignore it. But that one's quite a good one, and not too expensive, so they will use it. They will destroy it eventually. It might take them a few years. Then they've got this one, which is probably the one that they use most, and for the simple reason that I put stuff in it. So I'll put veggies in here, I'll put hay in here, and they do. Sprite, I said I'll give you some later, darling. So they do use that, particularly when I put hay in it. They like to have a go at that, pulling out the hay. This one here was a wood roll by Naturals or Pets at Home or something like that, and it was full of carrot bits and millet, that kind of filling, and they really enjoyed that. They ate it a few years ago, but I still use it sometimes to put hay in their hay room. So things like this in particular I would really recommend. I think you can buy them from Pets at Home for about £5 or so, and you can probably pick them up from pet supply stores in America pretty easily. I'm sure lots of people have these on YouTube, and they'll be able to give you an indication of where you can get them from if you're from the USA. So we also have here their newest cage item, which is one of the loofah chews from Pets at Home. It was the Naturals brand, and yeah, they don't bother with this. Well, Sprite's having a nibble now, only because it's in her face. They don't generally bother with this, but I like it. It kind of adds a bit of a natural vibe to the cage and looks quite nice hung up. So that's probably more for me than the piggies. Then they've got one of these, which is a Hyacinth Ball, and as you can see they've nibbled a bit on that, but not overly so. They have one of the colourful knot nibblers, which again, a few nibbles. So I think it really depends on your guinea pigs. If they are the type of guinea pig that will like chewing on wooden chews and that kind of thing, something like this is great. But maybe if they're the older pig and they're not bothered about this type of thing, it might be nice to have in the cage, something nice to look at, but apart from that, they probably won't pay much attention to it. So moving on to some more exciting things over here, we have their tunnels and other large furniture that they have in their cage. So the tunnels, they've got one of these, which actually is too small. Annie can't fit through it, so they don't tend to use that. And the same goes for this one. I actually bought these two as a set. They came off Hay for Pets, I think it was, last Christmas, and you can definitely tell which one has been used most. This one, Sprite and Lola might go through that, but Annie definitely won't. Whereas they all can fit through here, they've all had a good chew on it. I've used it more in the cage, so I'd recommend a Hyacinth tunnel because they're good for chewing on and as a play toy as well. But you can get the same things out of something like this, which is just a cardboard packaging, which they equally enjoy just as much as that, if not more, because we've got this long one here, for example, which is really good fun for them. I'm sure if I put it out, someone will start playing with it, although there's not much space. So those are the tunnels. Oh, and down here we also have I've forgotten what it's called. It's like a honey and alfalfa or something one, which I used to use in the cage a lot as a passage from the fleece section to the hay room. So this is a good one because it's kind of sturdy, it'll probably last a long time, and some people were worried about them eating it too fast and it not being very healthy because it's made out of honey and that kind of thing, but to be honest, my guinea pigs anyway, they don't chew on that much, so I wouldn't ever worry about them getting fat off that. And then over here, there's Lola having a go through the... Hello, pig! So then next to the tunnels, we've got their other houses and things. And they've got a classic plastic blue igloo. You can pick these up for about £5, £7 maybe, and they will last you forever. They are really good. I've had this since I first started having guinea pigs over 10 years ago, and it's only been nibbled a little bit there on the sides. So I definitely recommend some kind of plastic house. They're cheap and they'll last you a long time. Another house which I really recommend are these Willow Logs or Fiddlesticks, whatever they're called. You can bend them over, you can make it a kind of thinner archway or a wider one, so they're good, kind of adaptable, and they will last you a long time as well because they're not they don't have a bottom on like some things do, and also it's quite solid wood, so they're not going to destroy it in a matter of weeks, which sometimes happens with natural type houses. So those logs I definitely recommend, and I also, if you can get your hands on anything like this, then I think these are really cool as well. Here's the corner one. As you can see, it's just got a little hiding place under the ramp, and also they like to go in, and this goes right through like that to the other side. I bought these two ones off eBay last year, I think it was, or earlier this year actually, and they've both been a great hit with the guinea pigs. Handmade by someone off eBay, but I don't think he sells them anymore. But if you have a look on eBay or that kind of site where you've got sellers selling various things, someone's done a wee, then you might be able to find something like that. And I think they weren't too much either. They were about £12 or £15 each. And to say that they're wooden, they're really well made, I think that was a good buy, so I'd recommend something like that. The only downside with them is that they can get a bit dirty around the edge, and you can't really clean it because it's wood, and also they are quite big, so you're going to need a big cage to fit this in, and especially if you get something like the ramp one. Moving on round, we have one of their other favourite toy things, which I don't get out too much because it's a bit of a hassle to go away now that the little container for it is broken. So I have to try and tie it up with bits of string and stuff. This is just one of those expandable tunnels, and it basically compresses down to something only that wide, which is always useful. It's big enough for guinea pigs, easily big enough. Someone's weeding it, which might happen. So they really love this one, and they like to just sit in there, to be honest. So that is something that I should probably say. If you're going to get a tunnel like this and use it for floor time, because it might be too big to go in the cage, then keep an eye on them, because they might just go in there and sit and wee and poo. So that brings us right round to over here, which I just have my container which I keep the pellets in. So this is just to try and keep the pellets as fresh as possible, and I think this one was a couple of pound from Tesco. They're quite easy to find, not necessarily these ones where you can have the hole which opens up like that, but you can definitely find like storage boxes and stuff. And as I said, it just helps keep the pellets fresh, which is important for keeping the vitamins and the vitamin C in them for as long as possible, because vitamin C does start to degrade out of things as soon as it's opened, or even before that. So they're useful for keeping those pellets nice and fresh. And the piggy. And then last of all, we've just got their water bottles. I just use the normal classic, I don't know what they're called. Yeah, that's it, like crystal. It actually says classic on them. The crystal deluxe ones, which are annoying because they do leak, and I'm tempted to go ahead and buy some more expensive ones, though I might go and do a bit of research and see which ones seem to be the best to buy. And as you can see, we've done a full circle and we're back around to where the towels were. So that is everything for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been fun seeing everything that I have for the guinea pigs. And if you have any questions about anything, where I bought anything, I can try and find it out for you, or what other kind of things I might recommend, anything like that, then just leave a question in the comments below and I will reply. So again, thank you for watching as always. Please comment, rate and subscribe. And that's bye from me, bye from Annie, bye from Lola, who is eating the hay out of the hay rack thing, and finally goodbye from Spritey. Goodbye!